Hello dear learners, welcome to the session on communication. Communication skill is the soul of all the soft skills. It is very necessary to achieve happiness and progress in personal and professional life. And in today's video, I am going to tell you what is the communication, what is the process of communication, how many types of communication are there, and how to become a good and effective communicator. At the end of this session, students will be able to understand the definition, type, and process of communication. The word communication, it is derived from the Latin word communicare. And communicare means to share. Communication, it is a process of exchanging information, ideas, thoughts, feelings, and emotions through speech, signals, writing, or behavior. Let us understand the process of communication. There is a sender. Sender is also called as encoder. Encoding means creating. The sender encodes the message. He creates the message, so he is called the encoder. The sender encodes the message. Then he selects the proper medium according to the need of the message. After choosing the proper medium, the sender sends the message to the receiver. Here the receiver receives and he decodes the meaning. Decoding means the process of understanding the meaning of the message. The receiver is also called as decoder because he decodes and tries to comprehend the message. After the process of decoding, the receiver sends a feedback to the sender. And here, after receiving the feedback, the process of communication is complete. If there is no feedback, then the process of communication is not complete. But as every road has a speed breaker, similarly, there are many barriers, many speed breakers in this process of communication which will degrade the quality and impact of the communication. Some of the barriers are technical disturbances, noise, emotions such as anger or overexcitement, outdated equipments, and so on. And even if the receivers are not enthusiastic and they are lazy and dull, it will degrade the quality of communication. Now let us learn the main steps of communication. Always there should be a purpose or some reason for the communication. Then there should be a content of the message and this content should be meaningful. The medium used for conveying the message. For example, internet, written text, speech, face-to-face communication, gestures, and so on. After that, transmitting the message to proper medium. Messages are often misinterpreted due to external disturbance such as noise created by human beings, traffic, or natural forces. These factors can result in miscommunication. After that, receiving the message. After receiving, there is deciphering and making sense of the message. This is called the act of decoding. Interpreting and figuring out what the receiver thinks is a real message. Now let us learn how many types of communication are there. Based on the communication channel, there are 3 types of communication. Verbal communication means the communication with the help of the words, whether that is spoken or written. Non-verbal communication means communication without the words, for example, the body language. And the visual communication means communication with the help of visual signs such as the graphs, pie chart, traffic signals, etc. Based on the communication purpose or the style, there are 2 types of communication. The first one is the formal communication and the second one is the informal communication. Let me tell you how many types of verbal communication are there. There are the written communication where we write something such as letters, emails, SMS, etc. And the oral communication where we speak to each other, whether face-to-face or telephonic. Verbal communication involves the use of words and language in delivering the intended message. Though verbal primarily refers to communication through the spoken medium, while categorizing the types of verbal communication, the written and oral form of communication are included. Now, let us have some information about the written communication. It includes the letters, emails, reports, handbooks, brochures, various chat platforms, SMS, and any form of written interaction between people. Written communication is essential and indispensable for formal business interactions such as contracts, memos, press releases, formal business proposals, etc., and legal interactions and the documentation. The effectiveness of written communication depends on the writing style, grammar, vocabulary, and the clarity. Oral communication. It refers to the communication through the spoken word, either face-to-face, telephonically, via voice chat, video conferencing, or any other medium. Formal medium like lectures, conferences, seminars, meetings, and informal conversations, chit-chat, etc. The effectiveness of oral communication depends on clear speech and the tone used by the speaker. Speaking in too high or low volume, or too fast or too slow, can also impair communication between people. Even non-verbal communications such as body language and visual cues affect the quality of interaction among individuals or group. Although the verbal communication, it is the easiest and fastest and the most successful form of communication, but according to a research, it comprises only 7% of all human communication. Non-verbal communication. It is a process of communicating by sending and receiving wordless messages. These messages can aid verbal communication, convey thoughts and feelings contrary to the spoken words, or express ideas and emotions on their own. Some of the functions of non-verbal communication in humans are to complement and illustrate, to reinforce and emphasize, to replace and substitute. Let us learn the types of non-verbal communication. Physical non-verbal communication such as body language, facial expressions, gestures, etc. Paralanguage, it means voice quality, emotions, tone, voice modulations, etc. Aesthetic communication such as dance, painting, music, etc. Appearance, dressing style, colors, hairstyle, etc. And the symbols, religious symbols, traffic signs, logos of the companies, etc. Physical non-verbal communication. An individual's body language, facial expressions, stance, gestures, tone of voice, touch, and other physical signals constitute this type of communication. For example, leaning forward may mean friendliness, acceptance, and interest, while crossing the arms can be interpreted as antagonistic or defensive posture. Research estimates that physical nonverbal communication accounts for 55% of all human communication. Smiles, frowns, pursing of lips, clenching of hands, etc. transmit emotions which are not expressed through verbal communication. Let us learn about paralanguage. The way you say something, it means more than the actual words used reveal the intent of the message. The voice quality, intonation, pitch, stress, emotion, tone, and style of speaking communicates approval, interest, or the lack of interest. Research estimates that tone of the voice accounts for 38% of all communication. Let us learn about aesthetic communication. Aesthetic means beautiful, and here we can communicate with the art forms such as dance, painting, music, etc. Art forms such as dancing, painting, sculpture, music are also means of communication. For example, the Statue of Liberty, they distinctly convey the ideas and thoughts of the artist. Appearance is also very important in the non-verbal communication. Appearance is usually the first thing noticed about a person. A well-dressed and groomed person is presumed to be organized and methodical, whereas a sloppy or shabby person fails to make a favorable impression. Dressing appropriately in all formal interactions is emphasized. The dress code in office is generally formal. It constitutes of formal suits, trousers with plain white or light colored shirts and leather shoes. Bright colors, jeans, t-shirts, especially with slogans and other informal wear, are frowned upon. For women, formal two-piece trouser or skirt sets or formal ethnic wear like saris is permissible. Symbols. We can communicate with the symbols also. The religious symbols such as Om, cross, 786, the mathematical symbols, and even the logos of the companies that tell something about them. Let us learn about the visual communication. Visual communication through visual aids such as signs, typography, drawing, graphic design, illustration, color, and other electronic resources usually reinforces written communication. Visual communication through visual aids such as signs, typography, drawing, graphic design, illustration, color, and other electronic resources usually reinforces written communication. It may replace written communication altogether. Visual communication is a powerful medium. I think even now we are using the visual communication with the help of this PPT. Print and audiovisual media makes effective use of visuals to convey their message. Visuals like graphs, pie charts, and other diagrammatic presentations convey clearly and concisely a great deal of information. They are an essential part of official presentations these days. I hope the video will help you to understand the process of communication, its types, and it will help you to become an impressive communicator. Thank you.